What if the city you were exploring looked like a movie set, and the sea itself whispered stories from centuries past? When we first arrived in Dubrovnik, we were instantly swept into its magic. Croatia, with its sapphire waters and sun-drenched islands, had already charmed us. But Dubrovnik felt like another world entirely. This walled coastal city on the Adriatic Sea, once a proud maritime republic, radiates history and beauty at every turn. From medieval streets polished smooth by centuries of footsteps to fortresses perched above the waves, it's a place that feels alive with stories. In this video, we discover the best things to do in Dubrovnik for visitors of any age and families. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end because we saved the absolute best for last. We started our journey through Dubrovnik by stepping through the ancient pile gate into the Old Town. The moment our feet touched the shining limestone of Stradun, the main street, we knew we were somewhere special. Sunlight bounced off the polished stone, and the air was filled with the buzz of locals chatting over coffee and travelers snapping photos. We wandered past Baroque buildings, peeked into little chapels, and tried to imagine the merchants who once traded spices and silk along this same route. As the sun dipped lower, we settled at a cafe for an espresso and just watched life flow by. The Old Town doesn't charge admission, but it's worth every moment of your time. As we experience the firsthand, visit early morning or late afternoon to enjoy the quieter rhythm before cruise ships dock. Did you know that Stradun wasn't always here? Centuries ago, it was actually a swampy channel separating two settlements. Locals filled it in to create the main street we stroll today. Hard to believe that Dubrovnik's most beautiful promenade was once underwater. After soaking up Stradun's charm, we looked up, literally, to explore the walls that make this city world famous. Climbing the city walls felt like stepping into a history book, with sea views on every page. We spent nearly 2 hours strolling the 2-kilometer loop, stopping at every tower and bastion to snap photos and breathe in the salty air. The walls, some sections built as far back as the 12th century, are a masterpiece of medieval engineering and still remarkably intact. Tickets cost around €40 per adult, about half that in the off-season, and the walls are open roughly from 8 in the morning to 7:30 in the evening in summer, closing earlier in winter. We suggest to bring sunscreen and water if you're traveling in summer. There's little shade up there. Did you know that the walls have survived sieges, earthquakes, and time itself? One local told us that Dubrovnik's motto could be, "We bend, but we don't break." After all, these fortifications have protected the city for over 800 years. Once we'd completed the circuit and our cameras were full, we spotted another fortress just beyond the walls. The Gibraltar of Dubrovnik, or Fort Lovrijenac, was perched dramatically on a cliff. Naturally, we had to see it up close. We made the short climb to Fort Lovrijenac, rising proudly on a 37-meter cliff just outside the western gate. From the top, the view of the Old Town framed by the Adriatic was absolutely breathtaking, the kind of sight that makes you stop mid-sentence. Inside, we explored old cannons, stone staircases, and echoing halls that once housed defenders of the Republic. The fort is often included with your city walls ticket, but it's worth checking before you go. Plan for about an hour here, especially if you time your visit for sunset, when the whole city glows gold. Did you know that Fort Lovrijenac's walls facing the sea are nearly 12 meters thick, while the inner walls are just 60 centimeters? That's how Dubrovnik's engineers made sure it could withstand attacks from the outside, but not rebellion from within. Clever, right? After our climb, we headed back inside the city to uncover the stories behind Dubrovnik's leadership and legacy. The Rector's Palace was one of our favorite discoveries. This elegant building once served as the seat of power for the Republic of Ragusa. We walked through grand chambers filled with antique furniture, courtrooms, and even old prison cells. Imagining the life of a rector who could only leave the building during his one-month term for official duties. The carved stonework and arched hallways make it feel like a small-scale Venetian palace. Admission costs around €15 per adult, and the palace is open roughly from 9 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening in summer, with shorter hours off-season. Did you know that the palace was damaged several times by gunpowder explosions and earthquakes? So what we see today is actually a blend of Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles. A beautiful patchwork of Dubrovnik's resilience. With the city's civic heart explored, it was time to change our perspective, quite literally. We were ready to see Dubrovnik from above. A few minutes on the cable car whisked us from the busy streets to the tranquil heights of Mount Snjerd. As the cabin ascended, the rooftops of Dubrovnik grew smaller until they looked like toy houses surrounded by a sea of blue. The view at the top? Simply unforgettable. We could see the old town, Lokrum Island, and the shimmering horizon all at once. The round-trip ticket costs about $30 per adult, and the cable car runs roughly from 9 o'clock in the morning until sunset, or later in summer. There's a small museum and cafe at the summit, perfect for a coffee with a view. Did you know that Mount Snjerd played a key role during the 1990s war? The fortress at the top still bears marks from the conflict. Standing there, we felt a deep respect for Dubrovnik's strength and spirit. When we descended, we were ready for something different. A dose of greenery and peace away from the city walls. We hopped on the ferry from the old port. A quick 15-minute ride, and soon arrived at Lokrum, a lush, green island that feels like another world. We wandered through olive groves, admired ruins of a Benedictine monastery, and even met a few of the island's famous residents, peacocks. We also took a swim in the island's small salt lake, known as the Dead Sea, which feels almost surreal with its still, buoyant water. We really enjoyed our time on the island. The ferry, which includes entrance, costs about €30 round trip and runs frequently between 9 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening in summer. Did you know that legend says that the island is cursed? Supposedly, anyone who tries to steal from the monastery will meet bad luck. We decided to leave with only memories and 1,000 photos. After our peaceful escape, we returned to Dubrovnik ready to uncover a hidden gem we'd nearly missed. Tucked near the Pile Gate, this serene monastery became one of our favorite surprises in the Old Town. Inside, we found one of the oldest working pharmacies in Europe, operating continuously since 1317. Shelves lined with jars, herbs, and ancient instruments make you feel like you've stepped back in time. The quiet cloister courtyard offered a cool, shady retreat from the busy streets. And the museum showcased delicate manuscripts and artworks from the monastery's long history. Entrance cost wasn't that expensive, about €6 to €8, and it's open daily from around 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. Did you know that the Franciscan monks still make their own herbal creams and tonics using traditional recipes? We couldn't resist buying a little lavender salve as a souvenir. It smells like peace itself. Once we left the calm of the monastery, we were ready to end the day the Dubrovnik way, by the sea. After hours of exploring stone streets, we needed a break. And Banje Beach was the perfect spot to relax. Just outside the city walls, it offers pebbly sand, sparkling turquoise water, and an unbeatable view of Dubrovnik's skyline. We kicked off our shoes, dipped into the cool Adriatic, and watched the sun set over the red rooftops. We had a great time. Keep in mind that the beach itself is free, but loungers and umbrellas cost extra, about 15–25 euros per set. The nearby beach club is open from 8 o'clock in the morning until midnight in summer. Did you know that the water here is so clear that you can see fish swimming around your feet? Locals say it's thanks to the strong sea currents that keep Dubrovnik's waters crystal clean. One of our favorite surprises in Dubrovnik wasn't found within its walls or along its beaches. It was poured into a glass. We quickly learned that Croatia's wines are every bit as enchanting as its coastline. On our second evening, we wandered into a cozy wine bar tucked inside a 15th-century stone building. Candlelight flickered across the walls as we sipped our first glass of dingaj, a rich, bold red from the Pelješac Peninsula, just a short drive, or tour, from Dubrovnik. It had the kind of smooth intensity that made us pause and smile at each other. The next day, curiosity led us on a half-day wine tour to Pelješac itself. The drive was stunning, winding roads between mountains and the sea, and the vineyards seemed to grow straight out of rocky slopes. We met a local winemaker who proudly told us how his family had tended those vines for generations. Tasting Plavac Mali, the region's signature grape, while standing among the vines that produced it, was something we'll never forget. The flavors are unreal. Most Dubrovnik wine bars offer tastings for around 20–30 euros, while full-day vineyard tours range between 60–100 euros. It includes transportation and several tastings. If you prefer to stay in town, places like Divino Wine Bar or Malvasia Wine Bar in the Old Town are perfect spots to discover local labels paired with Dalmatian cheeses and olives. Croatians take pride in their indigenous varieties. Ask for Poship if you love crisp white wines, or Plavac Mali if you prefer something full-bodied and earthy. And don't rush it. Wine here is meant to be savored slowly, with good company and a view of the sea. Did you know that the famous Californian Zinfandel grape actually originated from Croatia? Its local ancestor is Kruljanak Kaštelanski, still grown along the Dalmatian coast. So, if you've ever enjoyed a Zinfandel, you've already tasted a bit of Croatia's heritage. After our adventures, we celebrated each night with something delicious. Because in Dubrovnik, food is part of the story. We feasted on freshly grilled Adriatic fish, drizzled with local olive oil, and sprinkled with sea salt, often caught that same morning. The seafood risotto, rich with shrimp and mussels, tasted like the ocean itself. And the octopus salad, tender, lemony, and perfectly chilled, became our go-to starter on warm evenings. One night, we wandered into a small konoba, a family-run tavern, tucked between the stone alleys, and ordered brudet. A traditional fisherman's stew simmered in tomato, wine, and herbs. We couldn't stop dipping chunks of crusty bread into the flavorful sauce. Another local favorite we tried was pasticada, slow-cooked beef marinated in wine and spices. A comforting dish that paired beautifully with a glass of red Plavac Mali. For dessert, we indulged in palachinka, Croatian crepes, filled with jam, Nutella, or sometimes even walnuts and sugar. On our last night, we shared a slice of rožata, Dubrovnik's creamy caramel custard similar to creme brulee, while watching the sunset over the sea. Each bite reminded us how Croatian cuisine blends Mediterranean freshness with old-world tradition. Croatia's food is simple, honest, and soulful, much like the country itself. Every meal felt like an invitation to slow down, savor the moment, and fall just a little more in love with the Dalmatian coast. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your fellow travelers, and subscribe to our channel for more adventures around the world. Let us know in the comments which place is on your bucket list, or share your own travel tips. Remember, travel is not just about the destinations, but also the memories you create along the way. Thank you for watching, and let's the journey begins.